Duke 100, Indiana State 62. I believe I made mention of this in the preview. While Duke isn't exactly being talked about as the best team in the country, they were analytically climbing, and smart people would tell you to take a closer look at this Blue Devils team. Well, after this blowout win, a 38-point victory over a top 200 opponent, they are now the number one team in the country, per Ken Pomeroy. This was Cam Boozer's masterpiece. There may be more, but for now, this is just nonsensical. 35 points, 12 rebounds, 7 offensive boards, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 3 steals in just 29 minutes. Jordan Mann is here with us. J-Man, I'm just going to ask you point blank. Have you seen a Duke performance from one singular player that good?
I mean, last year, obviously, Flack had that 40 piece against Notre Dame, and that's technically, I think, was the most for a one and done at Duke or freshman. But in terms of dominant performance, I think it's Cam Boozer because I think Shire said post game he was 13 of 16, and the 3 misses, he got his own offensive rebound and put it back up. So it's like when he missed, he scored. And I mean, you see the rebounds. He had 7 offensive rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 steals. It was literally like watching an NBA player play a middle school team. Like no offense to Indiana State, but it just was like in that I didn't even fathom they had 23 points at halftime. I was sitting there in media row and I looked at the box score like, damn, he has 23. It just felt like it was so easy for him. And Duke won by basically 40 and they were down 14 to 4 with 16 minutes to go in the first quarter or first half. And so really they outscored Indiana State by 50 points the rest of the way. Like it was an offensive clinic, obviously led by Cam Boozer.
Yeah, 5 assists. He tied for the team high. You kind of laid that out, I think, really nicely. Like it just looked like such an overmatched opponent. But the thing I want to make sure I make extremely clear here, to Duke, sure, yeah, Indiana State is an overmatched opponent. Broadly, this is not a cupcake. Indiana State is like a respected mid-major opponent that, there are a lot worse teams that top 5 teams in the country will play this season. Duke has played games against much lesser teams than this. So I totally agree with you. I was watching this, like feeling the same way, but the reality is Indiana State's not something to just sneeze at. Cam Boozer's just that good. So the way I've been trying to just interpret this, I don't know how much I've told you this, but I love Boozer. If I have to like take a side in the elite freshman conversation, I've been on Team Cam Boozer from the jump. The thing that I think is funniest about this is even as it's happening, I think you're right where it's like, whoa, I didn't even realize it was happening. There's not like this flashy highlight reel sense to it, like Bleacher Report factory stuff, right? AJ DeBonsa just had a great highlight driven game in a loss in an NBA arena. Darren Peterson's not even playing right now, but when he does, you can make certain we're going to see clips of it. Cam Boozer just like puts his head down and quietly spits out a double double with 5 assists, 3 blocks, and 3 steals. I don't know if I want to say there's no flash to it, but like, can you describe for someone like me that isn't in the building watching it, what is it like watching something like this unfold?
It's just kind of like a Mack truck just moving an object out of the way. Like it was like Bane just throwing around Batman pretty much when they're in the tunnel. Like I don't know the guy's name for Indiana State. I'm sorry, but I called him Big Country, and it was just like he was moving Big Country out of the way, and the guy is like good size, and Cam Boozer's just lowering his shoulder, create separation, and then going over the top with him, and it's just like I've never seen such a guy that strong, like base, everything. Just a strong guy to where I think I've said it before on here that he's not going to blow by you with athleticism. He's still a little stiff and a little slow, but what just separates him is like you cut him off. It's kind of like LeBron, where LeBron just puts that shoulder into you, creates that separation. Now he has the angle to get to the rim. Like it's good defense until it's not because Cam Boozer can just kind of shove you legally out of the way.
Legally, make sure we keep that word in
Yeah,
there. Nice,
legally. Legally.
nice. Yeah, I'm in awe of it, man. I really am. And I classify myself personally as a fan. I understand because he's at Duke and because it's just a little, I don't know, more. I don't want to even say subtle because how can a 35 and 12 game be subtle? But it's just not flashy. It's not about the highlights with him. It's just productive, and it always has been. But I'm just such a fan of it, and I'm gonna watch as much Cam Boozer this season as I can because I have such an appreciation for the way he goes about his business. It feels like the sky's the limit. And I know like he gets compared to Cooper Flagg because of recency. Like that's sort of the shoes he stepped into. In reality, other than being dominant, I don't think their games are all that much alike, but it is crazy to come off what many consider the best one and done season in over 5 years and
Mhm.
feel like you haven't skipped a beat in terms of your superstars production. So I'm going to ask you a devilish question because I get to host and I get to do this. If you could have Cooper Flag back, but you'd have to give up Cam Boozer, would you make that trade right now or would you not?
With I will say I'm doing kind of a cop out, but with this roster, I would not. I'd keep Cam Boozer with this roster. I like Cooper Flag a lot, and he was great with that lineup last year, obviously with what he did. But he led every statistical category for Duke last year. Cam Boozer's doing that again this year. So it's like, Cooper Flag led the team in points, rebounds, steals, assists, blocks, whatever. Cam Boozer's doing that now in his freshman season. And I don't know if you saw this, Greg, but he's now the third player in Duke history to have 30 points and 10 rebounds while shooting 80+% from the field. The other two were Zion and Carlos Boozer. So he had joined his dad in elite company of being one of three players in Duke history, 30 plus, 10 plus while shooting 80% from the field.
It's truly absurd. He just comparatively look, and I understand small sample size, competition level caveats apply here. He has the same assist rate as Cooper Flag, actually marginally higher. He has half the turnover rate that Cooper Flag had. So, like, even just from a playmaking standpoint, he's matching or exceeding what Cooper did last season as like a point forward. He's obviously as good, if not a seriously better rebounder. He's a more efficient scorer right now because all he does is dunk and layups. Like it truly is the same level of production, if not more, through 4 games, which is just absurd to think about. I knew people knew this was coming, knew it was good. I don't think anybody thought it would be Cooper Flag-esque in terms of the level this early. We'll see what happens at the Champions Classic and beyond as some tougher opponents come in. But look, for now, just point blank, if we're doing Duke recaps, I think we have to spend at least 5 minutes on what this kid is doing. If I had a vote on this and the season ended today, I don't even think there's hesitation. He's the National Player of the Year. Like
Yeah.
there's nobody even in the same stratosphere as what he's doing, right?
No, not at all. And I mean, I think this freshman class is loaded in college basketball. Like I love how much talent's out there, especially coming from like Europe. Like these dudes are hooping, but Cam Boozer is just he's moving different. I mean, he had a bad game against Texas and he had 15 and 13 and all of it came in the second half. Like when he's back like when he doesn't have a good half, he still has a double double and he dominates the second half. It's just he's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty nonsensical. All right, let's talk the pieces outside of Booze here. Trust me, I could spend 45 more minutes on my love for Cam Boozer. Let's talk point guard next. We've sort of framed this as a battle, and game by game, things might change. Guys might edge ahead of each other. In this game, Caleb Foster with one of his better performances of the season, 14 points. He did only have 2 assists and 2 turnovers, but made 2 of his 5 threes, left a few points at the free throw line. All in all, was just I don't know, productive in a way we haven't always seen from Caleb Foster. Behind him, Caden Boozer off the bench, 4 points, 1 assist to 1 turnover. Did have 2 steals. Thought he was, at least visible defensively in this game, which is good. But I think by my estimation, this might be the first game this season in which advantage Foster against Caden Boozer. Is that a fair interpretation of what you saw at the point guard spot?
I think it would be the second game. The first game was Texas. Caleb played better, and Caden looked like a freshman, only played like 14 minutes, I think. But Caleb, look, I asked him after the game, like, what was it that made him so aggressive? Because I think he shot 12 field goal attempts or something like that. And his first time in a while, he shot double figures. And he just said he's put the work in, and he and the coaching staff's telling him to be more aggressive. And he's shooting 50% from three this year for Duke. So, like, he's 9 points a game on 50% from three. His shot looks a lot better. It's going to fall more and more. He has to shoot with confidence. And then one thing about Caden that makes him so good is him pushing the tempo after a made basket. He had another assist or almost assist. Actually, Gungba missed the layup and then rebounded and put it back in. But Caden's so good at being the floor general as Caleb is more so just being a big guard that gets in the paint and then kicks it out and just moves the offense well, a good connector. But one thing I did see with Indiana State that I think Duke will see for the future is Indiana State went zone when Caden Boozer came in. It was Caden Boozer and then Malik Brown's at the 5, Indiana State went zone. Caden shooting 14% from three. That's something that he's going to have to show he's a catch and shoot guy to keep a defense honest.
Yeah, something to watch. Maybe an early, I don't know, little just throw this in the back pocket. If you're looking for ways to frustrate or fluster Duke at all, you've got to remember that maybe you could throw a zone out, but it's personnel based, and I feel like Shire has a pretty easy tweak to that if a defense does do that. Outside of point guard, talked about how I personally want to see more from the wings and or just feel like there's something coming from one of the non-Isaiah Evans wings. Sarr did have 10 points in this game. He was one of three Blue Devils in double figures. Did not really do much outside of score offensively. Defensively, he chipped in two steals. Hamini actually 5 assists, which there were a couple of his plays I was like, wait a second. Might have something here that I don't feel like I've seen this year. What did you see from your two wings?
Yeah, Nick Kaminia led the team in plus minus. I think he was like plus 34. 9 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists off the bench. He is a good connector, and he's a guy that's going to get better with as the season goes along. And Dame, he had a quick little pull in the first half when Indiana State went on a 14-4 run. Dame was kind of the first sub out quickly because of defensive assignment. He responded well in the second half. I think most of his points, if not all, came in the second half with his two steals, and he's always getting pass deflections too. Duke had over 30 against Indiana State and led by him really. And honestly, talking about Isaiah real quick, Isaiah, he only played like 15 minutes, 19 minutes, but he got pulled in the second half for throwing a lob to, I think it was Dame or somebody. And he was honestly, he was actually negative 3 points when Duke was up 30. Plus minus, he was negative three. Duke was up 30. He finished plus four in a 40-point game. So if there was one like negative, it was like, Isaiah didn't give his best, but you can also spin that as a positive for Duke's. Like he was plus four in a 40-point game. You live with that.
Yeah, it's one of those like I don't know. I guess for me, I don't really care with Slim as long as he shows up in the big games. Like it's gonna become a conversation if he ever does this against a quality opponent. And
True.
um, like for now, I think I can completely wipe my hands clean of it and be like, yeah, that was weird. Oh well, we were up 90 and Cam Boozer was amazing. I don't know where I'm at because in the preview I was like, I think Isaiah Evans has made the star turn. He's affecting games in ways that aren't scoring, and then in this game he really was an all around, I don't know, not disaster, but just negative, right? He just wasn't productive. He was not someone you could turn to possession by possession this game. You could feel that through the screen, even though he only played 18 minutes. So look, this team, we know how good the front court is. We know there's such a high floor just because Cameron Boozer exists, but I do still feel like we're looking for who that like Robin is to Batman. And I guess, do you still want that to be Isaiah Evans? Or you could even convince me it's Kamenia as the season goes on. I would not hate that.
You can convince me it could be even Gungba too. Gungba just gets up
Yeah.
points in a bulk, and he had 15 and 9 against Tennessee in foul trouble. He had 9 and 8 in 21 minutes against Indiana State. Like he can score in a flurry too. So it's just who wants to be the Robin is the question. Is it going to be Isaiah? Like he will be. He's proven to be a Robin in big games, but consistently, who would be that number two option for Duke?
Yeah. Yep. I guess that's just like a let's wait and see. But in the meantime, 40-point victories with Cam Boozer doing stat lines, I feel like I've never seen in my life is like a nice backup plan. Let's just do
Yeah.
that in all the cupcake games, and I can live with that. Champions Classic Tuesday. I believe you'll be on the preview for us this week. Can you give the people like a quick 20-second, what are you excited for with this Champions Classic matchup?
I'm excited to see Darren Peterson, obviously, and against Duke's defense. Duke has been really good defensively this season. Darren Peterson's the best guard they're going to face all year. I know Duke has a really good non-conference schedule. I mean, they play Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas, but Darren Peterson is the dude to like, hey, let's see what Caleb Foster, Dame Sarr, Caden Boozer, this backcourt can do defensively against a top two NBA draft pick. So I'm very excited to see that matchup.
Knowing Darren, he might pull a Carter Elliott and just not be there when you expect him to be there. So let's just fingers crossed we actually get to see that for basketball fans everywhere. One thing I do know, Cam Boozer will be there and be his very productive self. I can promise you that. That's J-Man. He'll be with us all season long doing Duke previews and recaps and plenty more for us as well. Subscribe to the channel so that you can see all of these. Congratulations to Duke and that Champions Classic on Tuesday. Sure will be fun.